we read in our family business. Somebody connect with Krishna consciousness, and he gave someone else Krishna consciousness, practically unknowingly, that will be helpful for that person. So this is when you get to the degree of pure devotional service, this become magnified, and whatever you do is only for the benefit of others. So this is auspicious, which is good for you, and it's also good for others. Another symptom of pure devotional service is that one is situated in the transcendental platform. Means that we are not influenced by the mode of material natures anymore. And this is very inconceivable for us, or for persons who are not in this platform, because we only know that sometimes I'm in the mode of goodness, sometimes in the passion, sometimes in the mode of ignorance. And to imagine a situation beyond that is very difficult. But we see in the case of like Srila Prabhupada, he was never under the influence of the mode of material nature, even though sometimes he could be angry, he could be very active, or he could be taking rest. He was never under the influence of the material nature. He was always transcendental. And he was doing these things for the sake of Krishna, for the sake of serving Krishna and helping others. So another characteristic is that is rarely achieved. As we said, is to see someone who really attained this state of pure bhakti is very rare. And take life after life after life of practice Krishna consciousness to get to that state. And we see all the previous acharyas, they were in that state. But this is very rare. It's like a rare gem that you cannot find. Like a diamond in the head of an elephant. It's very difficult to find. But we know it's there, but still not everyone can reach that point, even in one lifetime of practicing Krishna consciousness. And the next one is that bhakti derives all type of liberation. When one practices devotional service, automatically we get liberation. Like there are so many quotes that if we chant only one time the holy name, you get liberated. If you read Bhagavad Gita only one time, you get liberated. So liberation is not a difficult thing to achieve for a devotee. And we see like in the life of Bilba Mangala Thakur, he was saying, whenever I serve Krishna and I feel transcendental pressure by that service, I see that mukti is outside my door with folded hands trying to find an opportunity to serve me. But I'm not interested. I'm not interested. So liberation is not difficult to achieve, but bhakti is very difficult to achieve. So bhakti or pure devotional service derives the concept of liberation in any of the forms. And the next one is that it's called Krishna Karshini, that bhakti is the only thing that attracts Krishna. No amount of material adjustments can attract Krishna. Even a perfect tilat or very nice iron in dhoti will attract Krishna. Only bhakti will attract Krishna. So when we aim to attain this state of pure bhakti, then gradually we'll start to develop these qualities. And we see that there are some obstacles always on the path of bhakti, because we have a material body, we have a material mind, and we are in the material world. So we have 6 types of miseries that they are related to us being here in this material atmosphere. We have three internal and three externals. The external ones we know, Adibhautika, Adhyatmika, and yeah. And then we have internal kleshas. The first one, which is described in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, is bija. Papan, sorry. Papan means sinful activities. When we perform sinful activities, that become an obstacle in devotional service. That's why we have the 4 regulative principles that we need to follow just to keep us away from papan, from sinful activities. And then the next one is bijam. Bijam are the desires for committing sinful activities. We may restrain ourselves from sinful activities, but the desires, they may remain in the mind. And this is explained in the Bhagavad Gita that some yogis, they externally don't perform any sinful activities, but they have all these material desires in their mind. And it's only external show that they are practicing some type of pseudo spiritual life. And then we have the main cause of suffering and the main obstacle in bhakti, which is avidya, ignorance. And it's not just empirical knowledge. Avidya means that we don't understand what is the purpose of life, and we don't act in such a way to attain that perfection. That's why the Srila Prabhupada and all the great acharyas, they wrote so many books for us to come out of that avidya. And ignorance is in every level, in every level. Everyone got avidya. Even transcendentalists, Prabhupada explained that there are 2 types of transcendentalists, personalists and impersonalists. And they are subjected to this avidya to some degree. And the happiness that is experienced by this type of transcendentalist is different. Like for a Mayavadi or for an impersonalist, not necessarily Mayavadi, for an impersonalist, life is very troublesome. Advancement in the spiritual life is very difficult. This is explained in the 12th chapter. Kleshodikarastastesham avyaktasakta chitasam. Klesha. Like klesha need, pure devotional service make us free from any kleshas. But to follow like impersonal path, we give us another klesha, which is very difficult to overcome. The concept that I am God, everyone is God, like we were reading. If he knows that I'm God and one with him, and he will know why I'm not opening the door. This is avidya. But for a personalist, avidya comes in a different form. Comes in the form of not understanding or not practicing properly the process of bhakti. And then we get covered up by all kind of ignorance. But the purpose of this Vedic literature is to awaken us and to make us understand. Like Prabhupada said, one of the things that strike me the most of all the statements that Prabhupada made is that the body is a disease of the soul. And I was thinking about it for a long time when I read that, and how we are attached to this disease. And it's madness. is madness. Like you have cancer and you, oh, I love this cancer so much. Like we are attached to this body and we are attached to these diseases. It's madness. It's totally madness. But we don't realize that. We think, oh, I have such a lovely body. Everything is fine, especially when you are young. But it's just madness. It's just a disease of the soul. And we are attached to this disease. And no amount of empirical knowledge will change that. Only practicing bhakti, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayoshita, Gyanati Asubairagyan Gyanan Cha Yadahaitukam. It is said that only by practicing bhakti we can develop detachment from this world and knowledge. Knowledge doesn't come only by reading books, but also by practicing Krishna consciousness. And the best way to realize this knowledge is by book distribution. I remember when I started coming to the temple, the devotees were telling me the best way to realize Bhagavad Gita is to go on book distribution, and I couldn't connect the dots. I say, how going outside selling books will help me to understand Bhagavad Gita? I couldn't connect until I went to book distribution, and then I realized this is exactly the way. So I would like to talk a few minutes about book distribution. We need to finish a quarter past. I've done book distribution for 8 years, like when I was brahmachari, full time. And it was the best. I think everyone can, all here know that this is the best time when you're fully engaged in book distribution. But not all days were good. Some days were good, some days were not so good. I remember when I started going, the first time I went on books, one of the first time, I couldn't distribute no one book. No one. I was there for a few hours. I was on my own. I was so mental. I only remember I gave one invitation card to one person, and that's it. I came back to the temple, and I was very frustrated. But that person I gave the invitation card came to the temple, and he became a devotee. So you can never predict what is going to happen when you go out. Even though people see devotees, it's so auspicious for them. And what to speak if they receive book and they read Prabhupada's book, this is the most precious gift that anyone can receive. And I remember one time also, something very striking happened to me, that I had the same situation. I was very mental. I've been going out on my own for a long time because some devotees blew, some others they moved to another temple, and up being alone, going every day. So it was very difficult. It became very, very difficult. And one time I was very mental, and one girl approached to me. I have seen her every day because she was working nearby, and she took some books. And she said, "How are you today?" I said, "Oh, no, not very good. I'm not feeling. I think I will go back to the temple. Nobody's taking the books. People have been aggressive, and I don't know. I just don't feel like keep going." And then she says something that really struck me very hard. And until today, I remember this. And this is also applicable for all of you that going on book distribution. She said, "Don't give up." She said, "Don't give up." I could see it. I didn't say it that moment, but it was really Krishna talking to me through her. She said, "Don't give up." She said, "Did you know that you are a shelter for many people?" And I'm thinking, what she's talking about? I'm so mental, I cannot even control my own mind. How can I be the shelter for anyone else? She said, every day you are here, And everyone is keeping an eye on you. People from different religions. They may be Muslims, they be Christians, whichever religion they may be. And because they see that you are preaching the glories of God, they see that you are day in, day out trying to help people, you are keeping their faces strong. And this really struck my mind. I said, wow, I never thought that way. I never thought that this will be something so important for other people. So this is applicable to all of you, to every devotee who was on Sankirtan, that people are keeping an eye on us, and they see what is your behavior, how you talk to them, and they keep their own faith strong because of you, because of devotees preaching. And they may not come to you, they may not ask you anything, they may not take a book, but they still, you have a positive influence. You are having a positive influence on the masses, and this is very important. Jai Shri Mayapur Sachi Ki Jai. So it's very important for people to see devotees. Also, when I go to my country, I'm not going there very often. I think like one last time, like 10 years ago. And there are practically no devotees there. It's a very tiny country. Is no temple there. And sometimes you go on the street and people ask you, where are you guys? You know, I didn't see you anymore. Before you were singing on the street or selling your books. Where are you now? And so many people ask you on the street this kind of question. So it's so sad when you go to a place and there are no devotees. It's very sad. It's really like very dark place without devotees. So that's why book distribution is the most important activity, especially during Prabhupada Marathon, because this is an opportunity for people to see devotees, to get the association of devotees, and to receive this knowledge and to come out of avidya, which is the root cause of every suffering. Okay, time is up. I don't know if is there any question on
It doesn't suffer the same way as us, because externally it looks like the Acharya is suffering the same as any of us. How are we able to appreciate that? Although they externally seem to be going through so many difficulties, that they don't suffer like a normal condition. So
I didn't get the first part what you said. Sorry.
You were saying in the class that the Acharyas, they don't suffer in the same way as we do. Although for us, if we see the Acharyas, it may look like they're also undergoing suffering. So how do we appreciate that they're not actually suffering?
Because like in the case of Srila Prabhupada, when Prabhupada was leaving his body, the Kaviraj said that his organs were all loose. He said if he will be an ordinary person, he will be in such a pain that, you know, he will not be able to function. And he was not given any painkillers or anything. Because they know, like Prabhupada said, that it's like a coconut. When we identify ourselves with the body, it's like a green coconut. It's together. But when you develop this pure bhakti, then the coconut separates from the shell. And they can see clearly, pure devotee can see clearly, I presume, the difference between the body and the soul. and they don't identify themselves with the body. Like we don't identify with the car. We know if the car crashes, it's the car, it's not us. We have this knowledge and realization. So the pure devotee has this knowledge and this understanding that there is connected to the body and not connected to the self. Like we have this case, was Vasudev, the one who had worms, was Vasudeva Datta, yeah? Yeah. The worms were coming out from his body, and he will put them back. He said, otherwise they will have nothing to eat. So can you imagine this is a level of spiritual realization? This is inconceivable for anyone else other than the pure devotee. And we see the Goswamis, they will eat all kind of things which are not eatable, and they will sleep anywhere. They will not affected by this external so-called suffering. We see also, there is a nice book, it's called Saint of Vrindavan by Dr. Kapoor, who was a friend of Srila Prabhupada as well. And it's a very amazing book. I tell the stories of so many saints and how they were so detached of the body that they will not feel anything. There was one of them, in the last moment of his life, he was chanting so intensely that his body caught fire. And he had fire up to his neck, and he kept chanting, but he didn't feel the fire. Yeah. I mean, this is beyond any understanding. Anything else? Okay. Thank you for coming. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shanita Gaura Premanande Hari.